Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. So, Extreme Rules was a giant heap of flaming garbage. Was Raw any better? What do you think? You really think... Come here. Come here. You really think I'm going to say good things about Raw? Like, are you new here? Like, nah. Just... It's not going to happen. It just, you just know after a garbage show that there's just going to be more garbage, and that's what we got. We started off with Kurt Angle saying, about the strip Brock of the title. Okay, they're finally going to do it. Thank God, this is going to be a monumental moment, or Brock is going to finally show up. Heyman does the whole spiel, making it super obvious that Brock is not there by saying his name like in an unnatural way, like he wouldn't really normally announce him. So we all knew that he wasn't going to be there. So that was a waste of time. They should have just foregone that and just got right to the point instead of doing the whole spiel, because it was so obvious how Heyman did it. And another reason why Heyman should just not be the advocate anymore, just let Lesnar take care of himself. But I think that SummerSlam is probably going to be the last time that we see Lesnar in WWE for a long time, because unless they are just out of their minds at this point, they gotta give up the Lesnar shit. I mean, this is, I want to say it's hurting them. Even if Lesnar's not champ, they're still gonna be garbage. But I mean, this is just a prime example of how they have no idea what they're doing by letting a guy who doesn't even want to be there be their champion. But they're so nervous that he's going to pull a 2004 and just walk out on them for another venture. And he wants to. Lesnar wants to be back in UFC. Now, are they going to work out some creative deal? What happened? What happened to Vince McMahon, the cutthroat negotiator? I don't understand. Where it was like, you do things my way or it's the highway, pal. And, for people that bad-mouthed Vince, and he does deserve a lot of bad-mouthing, I will say that from all the things I've heard about him, you gotta respect that this man had a vision. And if it wasn't going to be his way, it was the highway, and he was going to kick your ass out. Because now you see what happens when you let somebody get their way and you're the boss. You look like a damn fool. Vince McMahon looks like a fucking idiot. He looks like a guy that's getting taken advantage of. I mean, Vince McMahon, a guy where, he's got this build for a 70-plus-year-old man, and he's looking almost not far off from Brock Lesnar's build. I mean, the guy is built massively. This is a tough guy. This is a tough SOB, and he's not some short little dude. He's not some light, short guy. I mean, this is McMahon. He's a plus 200-pounder. He's 6'3". I mean, he's an imposing figure. Anybody could tell you that. And he's letting this guy walk all over. Him and Brock Lesnar are like the same height. Now, Lesnar might be trained, in mixed martial arts, which will make him a threat, and he probably could destroy Vince at any time. But this is just negotiations over fake wrestling. And I know fake wrestling has caused a lot of real-world fights and stuff like that, because people take this shit very seriously. But I missed the cutthroat Vince, where he would have just fired Brock's ass, took the title off of him, held it up in some tournament or some shit like that, and just went about his merry way. Instead, don't talk about him last week on Raw. Don't talk about him. I mean, what? Don't talk about him. He's a champion, so if you don't want him to talk about him, best way to do that is take off the title. Prime opportunity right here. Does he do it? No. Heyman starts, Angle's like, oh, so he's not here this week? Okay, I'm stripping him. Then Heyman goes, whoa. And before you know it, they miss the point completely, and they make a match for the #1 contendership, or they design a plan at least, the first phase of it. They're going to make 2 triple threat matches, to decide, who's going to be the 2 people that are going to go at it to become the #1 contender. And some of the people that are involved in these matches are people who lost last night. Roman Reigns is in there. Why does he get an opportunity? You know, and you guys know I like Roman. So for the people that say I don't badmouth him, I'm not badmouthing. I'm badmouthing his booking decision. Badmouthing the character. Why would he deserve to be in this match? Why does Seth Rollins deserve to be in these matches? They both lost. So Seth failed to regain the IC title. So he gets an opportunity at the world title. Why Dolph Ziggler, who won, doesn't get it? And Drew McIntyre, who didn't even have a match at Extreme Rules, somehow weasels his way into this. And I'm not saying, you guys know I like Drew McIntyre, and he definitely deserves to be there. But from a storyline perspective, this just looks ridiculous. It's just random guys. And how about Finn Balor coming out? The reason I deserve to be in this match is because I was the first champion. Oh, okay. You know, it's kind of like, well, what have you done for me lately? Like, okay, so, you know, there's a lot of people who have been first-time champions, you know, but every time there was like a world title, you didn't see Jack Swagger walking out saying, oh, I deserve to be champion because I held it at one point many years ago. You know what I mean? You don't see Bob Backlund walking out, hey, I held the title back in 94. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. I mean, it sounds like a ridiculous reason. They can't think of anything else for him to say. Oh, I held the title at one point, guys. That's my credentials right there. Back in 2016. That was 2 years ago. And I got injured, but it's their fault when he came back last year. Did they put him in the world title picture? Maybe for like a few weeks. Like, but you're going to tell me that that's the reasoning? And then so what happened? What I got to ask is, what happened to stripping him in the segment? So Lesnar's not there? You know, so you're going to just go back on that and now just make a match? And now all of a sudden he's okay with that. So he's not going to pull out of this match. And they still never explained that. How I guess that was a contractual agreement they meant to say that he pulled out, not really the match. I don't know. It's just the verbiage. It's just the wording, whatever it was. But so he's okay with this match. He wasn't okay with the last match, but he's okay with it. This is just a mess. This company is such a train wreck. So they have the first triple threat. And you have Roman going over, you know, Finn Balor and Drew McIntyre. So, you know, I really don't know what to say here. It's like, you know, so they gave Drew some momentum last week with a win over Seth Rollins right before the IC title match. They just kill that right here. I think he was the one who got pinned even, probably, which makes it worse. But, you know, so once again, the first title. So I guess, you know, Finn's just going to go on to wrestle another match against Corbin. And there was no follow-up here with Corbin during the match or anything. You know, it's just basically a plain match, really uneventful. Nothing like that happened. You know, you could have had, you know, this is far-fetched, of course, but this would have been a great time for Lesnar to just appear out of nowhere and exact the revenge. Or maybe he's going to do that next week, you know, once the person is decided, which will probably be Lashley, I would assume. Ziggler was cutting a promo in the ring, which brought out Bobby Roode, so they're going to finally utilize Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode just loses here. Flat out loses. The super kick is finally getting over. He kicked out of the zigzag, so now the super kick, all of a sudden, suddenly they're putting it over. But thank God for that, because it's the sweet chin music. It's the move that Shawn Michaels made famous. So it does deserve to be a finisher, and it is I think it's a better finisher for Ziggler than the zigzag. Zigzag's okay, but super kick is just better. I mean, it's overused and shit, but, you know, Ziggler has that Shawn Michaels feel to him, so it feels right. But Bobby Roode right here, just looking like a total loser once again. I mean, this guy hasn't won the match in months. They haven't done anything. Like I said, all the groundwork has been laid in TNA. They already know that Bobby Roode would be a much, much better heel. They don't want to do that for whatever reason. They failed to capitalize on any, heat he had coming in. You know, it could have been, massive. They could have, built this guy up. They could have made him a world title caliber guy, but he's just a mid-card act. They brought this guy up from the minor leagues, from NXT, and you would think that, well, okay, well, this is a major star in TNA. So, like with AJ Styles, there's going to be probably more fans that are going to know who a Bobby Roode is, especially since he held the belt over there. So anybody who watched TNA and didn't watch WWE at that time, they would probably feel a little bit more at home. I don't know. A lot of people probably don't know who Bobby Roode is. But they can make people know who Bobby Roode is. They can make you know who basically everybody is on the roster, but once again, they're just not invested enough to do that. So, Bobby Roode here looks like a loser. Just lay it out. That's about it. Backstage, Mojo, tells him that he's not glorious. He's basically a joke, which is basically true at this point. The glorious thing has gotten him nothing. Mojo defeated Tyler Breeze. I don't know why they don't just make the Monty Brown pounce, Marcus Corvan. Why don't they just make the pounce, the shoulder tackle? He's a former football player. Why don't they just make that his finisher? The Alabama Slam, it's okay, but, it just looks... I like this attitude out of Mojo, but they got to do more with it. Either give him more mic time or whatever it is, but I'm liking his facials during these matches. I know people have been knocking this shit on the internet. They've been saying, why are they pushing Mojo? I say, why not? He's a big, imposing guy. He's more convincing than Finn Balor, more convincing than Kevin Owens, more convincing than a lot of the people on the roster. He's a former football player. Put him in there with Lashley with some build and and a little bit around him if they do the right things, which they won't, of course, because this is the current creative team, and you could have a new star. There's no reason. People just remember him from, being in the Hype Bros, the Get Hype thing, where he's just a very hyper, energetic, big guy that, was just kind of clowning around. But this new tough side of Mojo where he's all business, it seems bland and everything, but, if they make him super aggressive and they make him stand out, then it could be something. So just a bit of positivity here, and I like Mojo's look. I like him. I think he's got a big upside to him. But like I said, it remains to be seen if they can stay consistent with him, have him string together wins. Because the thing is, they're talking about he's stringing together wins. All he did was just beat No Way Jose twice and beat Tyler Breeze here. He hasn't really won any other matches. He only appeared on TV, at total random against No Way Jose to pick up a win when they decided to make him, be on TV again, to reappear when they got this idea to maybe run with them. Because they see there's no star, so, it's take number 93 of making a new star. I have very little hope that it's going to succeed, but I want it to, for this guy's sake, because, he seems like he's trying really hard in there. He's putting in the effort. You see the facials. You hear him talking during the match. He's trying to entertain. He's trying to play the audience. He's trying to, without, doing the Strowman, hey, you want to do one more move? No, not that nonsense, but actually genuinely, getting into character. Okay, I'm aggressive. I'm going to start, talking and berating, the guy I'm wrestling and everything. Kind of like what Bubba Ray Dudley would do during matches. So, I enjoyed this for the most part. Bayley and Sasha, I think it was a no DQ against Alicia and Dana, random tag team here. I don't get it. They just pulled these two that haven't, wrestled in months, and they just all of a sudden throw them out there again. Then they're backstage, and they're bickering once again. So, they're fighting. I thought there was going to be a match with Extreme Rules. No match. Terrible, terrible anger management, counseling segments that went nowhere, that failed in the first week. The first week failed. It's not even where I could say with Team Hell No, where it got a little bit played out. No, you couldn't even say that. They couldn't even entertain for 1 week straight without fucking it up. And I'm not just talking about Sasha and Bayley. They're bad actors, but, the thing is, it's the booking team for even putting them in that situation when they know that they can't talk. So, Sasha drops a bombshell. I love you. To Bayley. There, I said it. She walks out. So, are they going to go with the lesbian storyline here? If so, I will say I am happy they're doing this. This is something contemporary, something out of the ordinary, something that could be entertaining. I mean, I don't know why they didn't do it with Finn Balor. It would have been the most interesting thing that the guy's ever done, but they failed to pull the trigger. But I don't think that they have the guts. In the PG era, they want to play it safe. Yeah, of course, I say it every single time. Vince McMahon made fun of JR's Bell's palsy in the PG era. They mocked Jerry the King Lawler's heart attack in the PG era. So, it's very sporadic. It's a set of rules that only McMahon knows amongst the creative team. So we'll never know. So here we're going with the lesbian gimmick. And I say go for it. It's going to definitely be fun to talk about that in these reviews. It's definitely going to be fun to see how this plays out on TV. Especially since they're going to ruin it so badly. And they might. And how much do you want to bet that they just cancel out of this Emelina style? They're going to just be like, you know what? They're going to have some time to think about this. McMahon's going to go to sleep. He's going to get his 3-4 hours of sleep like he always does. He's going to wake up and he's just going to say to himself, you know what? I don't want to go through with this. This might just cause too many problems. And it might. It might be more trouble than it's worth. It's going to get people talking, though, if they continue on with it, which is something that they should do. But see, this is the reason why they stay stagnant. Because every time they hit on a good idea, they put on the brakes and they backpedal, or they just completely dismiss it and forget about it because it's too risque. And they don't want to go back to the Attitude Era, and they don't want to go back to these ideas. You know, they're going to say, oh, it's too Russo, it's too this, it's too sports entertainment. The Smarks are going to complain and stuff. But, I was looking, and I saw, the Smarks, they were calling for HLA and stuff. And they were like, they wanted them to kiss. So you see how the Smarks sometimes are hypocrites. They're the ones that say we're supposed to respect these women and everything. And then you've got the fans wanting to see this for perverted reasons. And I just get a total kick out of it. I sit here and I'm like, okay. So, you say that, we're not allowed to say that the women, the divas look sexy. We have to appreciate them solely based on their athletic performances and ability. But here we are calling for HLA, hot lesbian action. Not hypocritical at all, right? You've got Braun Strowman cutting the promo backstage. He said he wanted to congratulate Owens on his victory, in a sarcastic manner because, he pushed him off the cage in dangerous fashion. Just joking about it basically here. There was nothing really, there was no concern for Owens or anything. And this is what Braun Strowman is doing the very next night after the pay-per-view. After doing a big thing like that, could have been responsible for ending Owens' career if one wrong thing went on right there. But, it's very casual. He's just there for a single minute cutting a promo. He says he didn't come out because he's Monster in the Bank. They think they really hit on something good there. They keep saying Monster in the Bank. They got a nice little T-shirt there, not realizing that it sounds stupid. Monster in the Bank. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's not terrible. I don't even know anymore. It's just, this show is just unbearable at this point. I can't I just don't get how you do such a big spot like that. And I will admit, I'm agreeing with Wade Keller this week. He said after Hell in a Cell with Mankind, they talked about it at length, as they should have. Here, it was a brief mention. No updates on Owens' health. They didn't even do kayfabe updates or anything like that. It's just, okay, this guy gets thrown off a 20-foot structure. We're moving on. You know what I mean? Like the transition here. You've got the lesbian segment transition, and we're just barely showing any type of appreciation or concern for a man who just did a death-defying stunt. It's disposable. You know, at this point in the game, at least we would show appreciation for big stunts like that. These are things that would have been replayed. Shane McMahon falling off the side of the Titantron at SummerSlam back in 2000. They replayed that like crazy because it was insane. It deserved your attention. They wanted to drive home the point that this person took his life in his hands to entertain you, to get you to buy that pay-per-view, because he knew you tuned in to see a show, and by golly, they were going to give you a show. Here, it's like, okay, we're going to give you a show, but we're not going to really even care about giving you that show. We're not going to invest any time putting it over. It's like, there it goes. It's like Seth Rollins, Falcon Arrow. They were about on the same level. Move is performed, they move on. It was a transitional move. The falling off the top of the cage was almost as significant as a DDT nowadays. How? How did we even get to that point in this product? Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel defeated the Ascension. You know, did you really think that they were going to win here, the Ascension? So Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt are going to get a rematch next week. I mean, I can't see them regaining the titles so soon, but watch if they don't win them. They're just not going to know what to do with them. They might even just have them feud again, I bet, because they're going to be totally lost. They're not going to have the guts to push Matt Hardy into the world title picture or do anything crazy like that, even though it would be the most interesting thing they've done in a while. But they don't have the guts to do that. They're not going to, like, I don't understand how you could have these guys with so much character, so much potential. You have the ability to write. You have a massive budget. And especially now that they've cut the pyro out for the most part, they've really reduced a lot of costs. They have leftover money to do many other things. And, you know, like, was the final deletion, was that, like, really expensive to make? Probably not. I mean, you can't really think of anything that they did in there that would have cost a lot of money. You know, the drone, the fireworks. They already have state-of-the-art equipment. They already have the best editing software available to man. Those production trucks are a mile long. So there's nothing that they can't do, really. They have all the capabilities to make Matt Hardy just the most interesting thing on the show by far. And Bray Wyatt as well. But, you know, we're just going to stick with just a little promo here. I mean, it's just maddening. This show could be so good. There's potential with this current roster. There really is. You could pick out stars and you could find ways. You could give people gimmicks. You could turn guys like Finn Balor into entertainment. Like I said, if they went through with the gimmick, they gave him the gay gimmick, it would have been great. They could have got that guy over. They could have drew in a new segment of the audience. They could have drawn in an extra million people. Maybe not that many, but they could have got a few 100,000 at the very least for something like that. Just because it would have been out of the ordinary. It would have been something that people would have been interested in seeing. Alexa Bliss came out with Mickie James. Ronda comes out of the crowd. She starts walking down. She finally gets her hands on them. She tries to get Alexa in the armbar. I thought that they were just going to do the same thing like Extreme Rules. She was watching, huffing and puffing from inside the ring. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. They're just going to have her, you know, let them escape again, you know, and it's just going to be the same story. So she finally gets it. You know, Angle calls her off. Corbin comes to the ring, you know, and says, you know, you're just going to tell her to go home. You know, she should, you know, you should be tougher on her. Angle says that she's right, that he's right. He adds a week onto her suspension. You got to be kidding me. Honestly, You're going to add a week onto her suspension. So what was it? So she was supposed to be back on a Wednesday. So that means she's not going to be there at Raw next week. So you just had this big hot segment that I'm actually going to put over here, that it was good. And you're not going to have her there. So this is their strategy. Do one big thing with Ronda, then wait a few weeks, and then do something else with her. It's kind of like the Sting mentality. Okay, they're handling her a little bit better than Sting, I'll admit. Lately, anyway. But, I mean, like, this is how you follow up a big, heated segment right there where the crowd was actually invested in it and cheering for Ronda. And they were finally getting a reaction that they wanted from the crowd. That wasn't just a bunch of dummies counting down a clock during an Iron Man match. No, it was actually real baby face pop right there. Something we haven't heard in a very, very long time. Ronda was over, and then they just suspended her. And then, Corbin says he's going to call Stephanie. He takes out, but then Angle, takes out Corbin's phone. He says, is he looking for this? He gives the match to Ronda, at the SummerSlam for the title. Okay, so it was a big announcement. Once again, Angle just looking submissive here, like at the hands of Corbin and everything. I would just love to hear Angle say, I don't give a shit, call that bitch. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I am so sick and tired of this making Angle the Olympic champion. This Olympian, the gold medalist, a 2-time gold medalist, and a multi-time world champion. And one of the most toughest legit guys in the company. Though he's in an authority role right at the moment. I mean, why does he have to have the least amount of authority? Why does he have to look so submissive here? That he has to be scared of what Corbin, the Constable Corbin, says. And he has to extend. I'm saying it's kayfabe, it's fake and everything. But they're making Angle look so bad here. You know that he's just doing it for a paycheck because there's nothing here for the ego. There's nothing here that's entertaining. They're just making him look like a damn goof. And this guy gave so much to the company. I don't know if it's because he went to TNA that they're trying to, get back at him or whatever the case may be. They're just making him look pretty fucking bad, though. The Authors of Pain defeated Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews. It was nice to see them not running from them for a change. They got a nice victory here. Now, I don't understand. Like, for all intents and purposes, if they're together as a tag team, why are they not interested in going after the tag titles? I understand that they want to build up Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, and I applaud them for doing so and actually staying consistent with a team or anything for that matter in this company. But these guys are just going to have random matches until it's their time, until the bookers or creative decides it's time to have that match. No, I say, like, should be the tag champs right here. Because if you're going to have this team on the roster, it looks pretty damn foolish that they're this big, this dominant, and they're not tag champs. Instead, they're wrestling the bottom of the barrel. I mean, they've defeated enough jobbers. They defeated Titus O'Neil and Apollo Crews enough times to prove that they're competent workers. They're big, tough, powerful, imposing. There's no need to keep going on with these same type of matches. It's time to move on. Time to give them an opportunity to make them look good. Sarah Logan defeated Ember Moon. I think this was probably Ember Moon's first loss here. Besides that time when they reversed the decision backstage, when they all got mad at Bayley. This is like the first time that she got pinned, and I don't care here. Sarah's all happy and everything, and, whatever, looking like she, won a gold medal herself, Kurt Angle style. But, we still don't know anything about these characters. They tried to establish that, Liv Morgan has got a blue tongue, for some reason. You know, they said last week she likes the color blue. So you've got the blue tonguer. You've got Sarah Logan, who likes hunting because, you know, it's generic. You know, she's from a southern state, so they have to give her that gimmick. You know, but they haven't even, like, built on that character or anything. So, you know, you've got the girl that's, you know, got the blue tongue, and you got the huntress there. And they're going nowhere with them. You know, they're backstage. They started smashing things a few weeks back with Elias. And, you know, it's like, what are they doing here? Like, who are these people? You're just throwing random people on the show. They're there every week, but to me, they're randoms because they don't take any time to invest who they are, what they're doing there, what their goals are, what's their character, what's their gimmick. What's the deal with this person? They're just wrestlers? They're just wrestlers. That's all they are. They just want to be there to just have random matches. Like, what is this match with her and Ember Moon? Like, is this for, like, a #1 contendership? Are they going anywhere? Ember Moon's won some matches. Does she get a world title shot? No. Everything is, like, held up because of Ronda and Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, and all the other girls are just on the sidelines. And I know I'm not for that, but it's like, okay, then they shouldn't even be on the show then. You got nothing else for them. You have no storyline to give them. Don't even show them then. Keep them off. Why you're paying them just to have random matches? This is doing nothing for anybody. It's not doing anything for them. Then in the main event, it was Roman Reigns. Who was it here? Oh, Bobby Lashley defeating Seth Rollins and Elias. So now we're just going to have Roman Reigns and Lashley again on free TV. So I don't understand what the point was of having it at the pay-per-view. They were just going to have it here on Raw. The same. And why are we having the same match? Like, they should have just binded this all into one match and just give it to Lashley. Lashley already beat Roman Reigns. Now, I like the match from last night, but, you know, at Extreme Rules, but why do it again so soon? Like, you just had that match. Now you're going to wait, then like a little bit more than a week later, and you're going to have the same match again? Okay, so it's like, you know, we're just going to see a repeat here, basically. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, I'm sitting here watching the show. That makes absolutely no sense. It's one terrible segment after another. Nobody's getting over. The minute someone is getting over, they go back with the suspension routine because they can't figure out how to maintain her to be over. Pathetic. You know, guys, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, this has been your Raw review, and, you know, I just don't know about this product anymore. You know, okay, so I guess Lesnar might show up next week, do a sneak attack on Lashley or Roman or whatever. But, I mean, like, you know, we wait around for months and months watching this show. And it's just a joke. Like, you had a whole pay-per-view where nothing happened. And the main event is just a 30-minute Iron Man match. With, you know, just, you know, okay, they went to a sudden death finish. It was a little bit something out of the ordinary. But, like, what do they have to show for it? A man falling from the top of a cage. You had a man a month ago, the same guy, falling off the top of a ladder. And no one gave a shit about either stunt. No one cares about Owens. He's just the guy that's getting bullied and pushed over in a porta potty. I mean, I don't know how you can possibly write a worse show. This is the bottom of the barrel. I hope the ratings are even lower than last week, to be perfectly honest. This is an abysmal show where there's no effort shown. It's just completely horrible. This has been your YWC champ, and I'm signing out.